it is going to execute, and whatever the result you are going to get, that will be displayed on the character. So this is, I think I have given one assignment question, explain shell interpretive cycle, how it works. So you should be able to take some example and explain how this shell interpretive cycle it works, how shell is going to interpret the command. Okay, and also we have discussed about pattern matching. So whenever if you want to list all the files that file name starts with the chop. Okay, so this is a command you are going to use, $ls chop followed by any number of characters, chapter 1, chapter 2, anything. Okay, so it is not necessarily the numbers, any character followed by this string. So that is going to list. Okay, first it is going to read this meta character. Shell is going to scan for the meta character. Accordingly, it will display the output. So in that case, we have discussed different wildcard meta characters in the last class. If you have missed, go through that class, or I think recording is there, you can just go through that. So I'll just highlight what are the wildcard meta characters we have used. One is asterisk, indicates any number of characters including none. Okay, it is going to match any number of characters. Whenever if I use $ls, okay, chop indicates followed by this string any number of characters. If it is matching, list all the files, that is the meaning. Then $ls, okay, so chop, I'll just put one question mark, indicates star. Okay, so star is not required. If you want to specify a particular character, number of character, if it is single character, normally we'll use a question mark. Okay, so single character, that is going to match. So that is, for this you may get file if it is exist in your system, that is chop 1, chop 2. Only one character is allowed to list the file. Okay, chop 3. So don't use asterisk here. So that is how the wildcard or meta character works. Similarly, if you want to match any of these characters, okay, so you can just give the same pattern here. That is, if you want to specify the character should be I, J or K, so it should match with any of these character means, so you have to use the square brackets. Within that you are going to specify I, J, K. Or if you want to exclude the listing of files or whatever the command you are going to use, the pattern, if it should not be I, J, K, okay, I or J, K, then you have to use the not symbol, not I, J, K. Okay. Similarly, so if you want to specify the character should not be an ASCII value range from X to Z. So if you want to specify range of values, you're going to use this hyphen. Okay. So similarly, if you want to specify any set of pattern, okay, only list only the set of pattern you have specified. So in that case, you have to use the curly brace and just specify the specified pattern what you want. So this is where I am specifying only single pattern. If you want to specify more than one type of pattern, okay, along with this, if you want to list ch star, okay, something like that. If you want to represent more than one pattern, then you are going to use the curly brace. So these are the important things we have discussed in the last class. Okay, so each of the wildcards we have discussed in the last class with an examples. So this is very important. So in the exam they may give the command like this, maybe even in the question bank I have specified. Okay, so you will get command like this, or they may ask you to write the command to list set of files, some filtering condition they'll specify. So accordingly you should be able to write the command used for that. So you can just see here. So this is one type of pattern filtering condition. I am using ls minus x. Okay, so this you already know. Chop. So where you are going to question mark. So this string followed by only one character. In that case, you are going to use question mark. If you want to Match more than one character means you have to specify how many characters you want to match so many question marks. Okay, so here two characters. So this string followed by any two characters. So list such type of files like that. Okay. So negation, even dot we have discussed in the last class. If you want to display the hidden files, so how hidden files are represented in Unix, normally always the hidden file starts with a dot. Okay, the extension, there is no file name. It always the file name starts with a dot followed by some particular file name. So in such case, how you can display such type of hidden files? Normally, if you just give $ls, you may the shell it is not going to display the hidden files. Okay, if you want to display the hidden files, you have to represent dot followed by how many characters it should be. If you are very specific, it should be 3 character, 4 character. Specify so many number of question mark followed by asterisk. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? Just a minute. $ls, can somebody tell? Dot asterisk. Okay, so another case I'll take $ls dot question mark asterisk. Can somebody tell what is the difference between these two commands? Yes, try to understand. I told what is asterisk indicate, what is this question mark indicate. Now how you can differentiate output of these two commands? I think one already it is there here. So you need to tell about this. So this command tells at least it should have minimum 3 characters, dot followed by 3 characters, then any number of characters. Okay, you are limiting at least it should be 3 characters. The first command tells dot followed by any number of characters. Even if it is having a single character, it will display. But in this case, you can just observe here. So all the files that is, it is having minimum 3 characters and it can be any number of characters followed by dot. Okay. So these examples you try to execute in your system, then only you will understand. Okay, similarly we have discussed about escaping and quoting. Whenever if you want to turn off the meaning of meta character, okay, whenever if you want to turn off the meaning of the meta characters, we'll use the escaping. Okay, that is backward slash, and also you can use the single quote. Okay, so I'll just stop about this because we have discussed in the last class. So let me just start with, today we are going to discuss mainly two topics. One is about redirection. Okay, so what are the different methods used for redirection, and also there is one more command called a pattern matching command called grep command. Okay, so this is very important. I need to cover in this class grep command. Maybe last after 4 o'clock I may extend for 5 minutes. So just be there because I have given some questions related to these topics. So we'll start with the redirection. So redirection here, a stream is simply a sequence of bytes. So whenever if I tell stream, it is nothing but sequence of bytes. When a user login, the shell make available 3 files representing 3 streams. Okay, so as soon as you log into the system, always the users will be having these 3 types of streams are available. What are those 3 types of streams? One we call it as standard input. Okay, so that is nothing but the file representing input which is connected to the keyboard. Okay, an example. I'll give the example. So how to use this input stream, output stream, all those things. So here input indicates, you can just remember keyboard. So example command cat. If you want to read from the file, you can just put enter here. Immediately it will ask for the data to enter from the keyboard. Okay, once it is done, you just press Ctrl D, it will come out of that file. Okay, or we have an option of using redirection operator called cat redirection operator file name. Okay, .txt. So then it will ask for entering the content to, you're creating new file. So there are different ways of getting the data, input data, either used directly from the keyboard. This is also from keyboard, but you're using redirection operator. Similarly, we have output stream, that is standard output, the file representing output which is connected to the display. Okay, so output, that if you want to display example cat, if you want to display, normally you will just specify name of the file. So this is one type of standard output where you, if you give this command, it will display the content of file on the screen. Okay, there are different ways of doing this. I'll explain those examples later. Next, we have another type of streaming called standard error. The file representing error message that enumerate from command or shell. So what happens here? When you run a command, okay, so if it is like the specified file is not existing, or if you're not given the proper option, so it will raise an error. Immediately we'll be able to see in the command prompt what is the error. Okay, if I am just specifying cat file.txt, okay, so in this case you may get error in case if this file is not existing. Okay, so if you want to store that error into file, or if you want to just read it and ignore, so you can have so many options to do that. Okay, we'll see in detail about those examples in the further slide. Okay, so what are the redirection operators? Redirection of streams, it is there. One is standard input, standard output, and standard error. We'll start with the standard input. One is pipe. Okay, so we'll use the pipe for getting the data to the command. Okay, you can just observe, for this command you are getting the data from pipe. Pipe is nothing but, normally I have used this. Okay, so that is $wc ls minus l. Okay, what happens here? It is going to list the file. Okay, and whatever the output it is coming from this command, that will be given as an input to this. Okay, using this pipe mechanism. So you have in the keyboard, you can use that, where you can run multiple commands in the same statement, or using the single command prompt you can run multiple commands. Then sometimes you may get the input from the keyboard, so using cat command I already told, or it may be file. So for this I gave example. Okay, the first example from keyboard I told cat. If you don't give any file name, it will wait for you to enter the data from the keyboard. Okay, until unless you press the key Control D, okay, it will not come out of that file. Okay, this is directly it is going to read from the keyboard. So sometimes if you want to store the output, I mean the input from the file, so in that case you're going to use the redirection operator cat file txt. Okay, so that is also an example of getting the data from file. So this is you are getting data from file. I'll just go with one by one example. So it can represent three input sources. Okay, three input sources. How you can get the input? Either using pipe or keyboard or file. So it can represent three input sources. One is the keyboard default source. Normally we'll get most of the time the input from the keyboard. The file using redirection with a symbol. Okay, so for input we'll use the redirection symbol like this. Okay, example. So this is for getting the data from keyboard, or you can use WC. Okay, you can just observe here. So getting the data from keyboard, standard input. You, as soon as you just give WC word count, okay, until unless you give any input as a file name here, so it is not going to tell what is the output. So instead of that, what happens here, when you give this command, it will ask you to enter some details. Okay, once you enter the details, if there is no file name is given, whatever the data you entered here, it is going to count that. So then you have to press Ctrl D, it will come out of the file. Okay, and you will get the answer once you come out of this file. It will tell how many number of lines you entered, how many number of words, okay, how many number of characters. So this is the output of this command. So here it is getting the data from keyboard. Similarly, from the file. So standard input it is from the file. Uh, so this is the actual example for input from the file. Okay, that is $wc redirection in file. Okay, so I'm just giving this file as an input to this command wc. So before, what happened in the previous example, so where I have not given any input, so I have to enter from the keyboard, but here it is going to get the information from the file, and that should be existing. Okay, you can just see, before executing this, I have executed this command where I have created a file called infile and I have closed. So now this file is created. Now that file I am giving as an input to this command, and this is the output of that. So this is how it can take the input using this redirection symbol. Okay, redirection using the file name as the input. So next one, are you able to understand? Are you able to understand what I'm explaining? This is very, very important. Try to understand. If you have any query, you can just ask me. Okay, so one I told, this is from keyboard, example of keyboard, and the second one is using file name. Okay, or using redirection. So this is the symbol or notation used for input redirection. Okay, whatever the file I am taking here, specifying, for that it is calculating the word count. So for that you have to use this redirection symbol, and this is just to create the file. Okay, before giving input, I'm just creating this file and I am giving that as the input to the wc command. So another method I told, using pipes. So three ways of giving the input is using pipes. Okay, so normally we'll represent like this, then keyboard, and using redirection operator, or for specifying the file name. Okay, okay. So now I just go to this. So what is this command tells? Dollar who pipe wc minus l. Okay, so what happens here, the output of this first command is given input to the next command using this pipe. Whatever the output, instead of storing output this into file and calculating, so what I can do is, I can, what is this who command tells? So who command tells how many users are how many terminals or how many users are running at present that particular time. Okay, so that it is going to list. So you can just observe here, I'm just redirecting that to a particular file. Okay, and if you want to see the content of that file, you can just use this. Okay, so this is just for your reference. So to know how many number of users are running. So now instead of doing all this, I can directly specify dollar who. Okay, and the pipe output of this I am giving to the next command called wc minus l. So where it is going to, what is l indicates? See, there are so many options. wc we have discussed. If you don't give this minus l, what will be the output? So where it will be specifying how many number of lines. Currently there are 3 lines. Okay, in this particular who command, if you give, it will list who are the users running. So there are 3 users, that's why you are getting 3 answers, and followed by it is going to calculate how many number of words, okay, number of characters. But here when I specified the option minus l, it will display only number of lines. Okay, words and character it is going to ignore. If you don't give minus l, the output will be something like this. Okay, you will get some number here. It will count how many number of words are there followed by number of characters. Is it clear? So how you can use pipe as a input. So that is all about the standard input. So next we have standard output. So once again, there are three possible ways of representing the output. So one is the terminal, the default destination. So normally terminal, it is used as the output. Then file, that means display here. Terminal is nothing but display. Don't get confused. So for input I told example keyboard. So here it is display. So that is a default. If you are not specifying anything, by default, whenever if you give any command, the output it is going to be displayed on the terminal. Okay, that is one way of representing the output. Another way, so you can store the output into a file using redirection symbols. This one and also this one. So I will tell the difference between these two. So as an input to the another program using pipe. Okay, and also you can whatever the output that comes, you can give as an output to the other command using pipeline. Okay, using pipeline you can give as a output to the other command. Okay, so you can just observe here. So wc, already there is a file. Okay, already there is a file called in file. There is some content. Assume there is some content. I am just giving wc of that file. What happens? It will specify. Okay, just understand this. It will specify how many number of lines, characters it is there. Now, in case if you want to display, I'm just explaining with respect to these three methods of representing the standard output. wc in file. Okay, so here the standard output is here the display. It will display the number of lines, characters, and a number of words and characters. Display on the terminal or on the screen or your system, it is going to display. That is one case. Another case, wc in file. Okay, I will just store this into some particular file. The output of this command I will store into file. That is one type of standard output. So for that you have to use this redirection operator. Okay, so you can use pipe or terminal or file. And there is one more operator I told. So either you can use to store into a file this operator, and if you want to append the content without disturbing the existing one, so that is cat file 1.txt. In case if I have already created file 1.txt, now in case if I want to append some more data, so I will use this. Okay, I will use this operator. Actually it should be used here, cat followed by operator, then file text. Okay, so not at the end, it should be in the beginning, cat followed by this redirection operator and the name of the file. So this indicates you are appending the content without disturbing the existing one. Okay, so that's all about the standard output. Similarly, you can use the pipe. You can just take example for representing. Okay, the output of WLS, what happens? You will be getting list of files. Okay, then output of that I'm giving to this command where it will count how many number of lines it is, like how many number of files it is listed. Okay, and I am using another redirect operator to store the result into that file. So when you do cat of fk count, so you will be able to get the result of ls. I mean, it will specify how many number of files are existing. So try to execute these commands, you will understand. So another standard redirector is error. Okay, so standard error. So most of the time when I executed the commands, so you observed sometimes I got the errors if the file is not existing or if I have given file name wrongly. So normally it will raise an error. And also the shell is going to display the diagnostic message to indicate that error is due to what reason. Okay. So maybe if you have executed any commands, you will be, I think you observed all these things. So when a command runs unsuccessfully, if it is success, either it return to the command prompt or it display the result of that command, whatever it is executed. Okay. In case if it is unsuccessful, so it will display the diagnostic message often shown up on the screen. Okay. It will display the error message due to what reason that particular command is not executed. So this is the standard error stream whose default destination is the terminal. Okay, you are not going to store anywhere that particular information. Normally it will be displayed on the terminal. Okay. Okay. If you want to store that error somewhere else, that is also possible. You can just take example of cat foo. Okay, you may get error in case if this file is not existing, cannot open foo. Cat fails to open the file and writes to the standard error. In case if you want to store this error somewhere, it is not required. Okay, normally, so you can just redirect this to some particular file name. So there this error will be stored. Next, that's what I told now here. So the same thing it has happened here. So it is going to store into a file, then you can view that error whenever you want. And if you want to store all the error message into a particular file, okay, you can just use this append. You will be keep on appending the values. If you are just using only one operator, it is if the file is already existing, okay, if content is there, it will overwrite. So overwrite with this new content. If you don't want to overwrite, you have to use this redirection double greater than symbol for appending. Okay, so T command I'll explain later. Let me quickly go to this grep. Okay, so this is very important. I think you have a question on this grep in the question bank what I have given. Okay, so we'll understand what is this grep command, how it works. Very simple command. Only thing is you need to remember the options. So today I'll not show you any hands-on example. Today I'll just take the examples. In the next class we'll discuss the hands-on with respect to grep. Okay, so grep it is used for searching a pattern. Okay, always remember it is used for searching a pattern. So how it is going to be represented? So you're going to represent the grep syntax for grep is grep. So command prompt grep. Then if you want to specify any options, options are optional. Then followed by pattern, what pattern, and from where filing. Okay, so this is the syntax you need to follow for the grep. So grep, then options. If you want to specify any filtering or specific information, you will be specifying the options followed by pattern. What pattern you are going to search in this particular file name. Okay, grep is mainly used for searching a pattern in the given file. Okay, normally we'll give the file name. So it can be a single file or it can be more than one file. Okay, it can have more than one file names. You may get the, if you don't want to specify the file name, okay, if you don't want to specify the file name, then you have to get the input standard input. Okay, if you are not specifying the file name. Next, so example. So here there is an example. What is this command? I think everybody knows about this. What is the output of this command? So that is $cat. I have a file called emp.lst. There is some content in this file. I am trying to view the content of this file using this command. Okay, so I have got, consider I have got all these details from this command output. So now I'll try to search some particular pattern from this file. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just give $grep So what pattern I need to specify? I'll just go with the pattern called sales. I want to search is this particular pattern is available in this file emp.lst. Okay. So whichever the line that is having this particular word, so it is going to display that particular line. Okay, this line it is having sales. Okay, so you can see 1 2 3 4. Okay, you have 4 lines of output. You will be able to get those 4 lines. Can you see here? So you are able to get 4 lines of output. It is matching with this particular pattern, and this pattern, okay, so this pattern can be specified with quotes or without quotes. Okay, when you have to specify mandatorily the quotes $grep, if it is a single word, okay, you can just write it the pattern directly. It does not require the single quote or double quote. In case if your pattern it is having more than one word, in that case it is mandatory. Okay, it is mandatory, you have to specify grep, okay, the sales, then director. If I am giving 2 words to search that pattern, okay, in that case quotes are compulsory. So always just make a practice of specifying pattern in the codes. Okay, if it is a single word or more than one word also, try to use a codes. Okay. Now consider, I'll just take, there is another example, director emp1.lst emp2.lst. So what is this indicates? So you know this is the grep command and followed by the pattern, and I told you can give one file name or more than one file name as a input. So now it is going to search this pattern in the first file and also in the second file. Okay, so once if it is any matching found, you can just check in the previous. So for director, so this is emp.lst. So consider you should have a 2 files called emp1.lst, emp2.lst. I have some content in that. So wherever this pattern director matches, it will display that line. And also in the beginning, it will specify the line number. Okay, it is going to specify the line number. Can you see the name of the file followed by that line emp1.lst emp. So there are 2 pattern matching found in first file and there are 2 patterns found in second file. Okay, that means you can search this particular pattern in more than one file by specifying the different file names. Okay, so now let me quickly go to the options. What are the options you can give using this grep? This is very important. So now the first one is ignoring in case when you are specifying the pattern. Okay, if you are not very specific with respect to the case, then you can use -i. Okay, grep -i followed by the pattern director. Okay, even if you have capital D or the complete pattern, if it is in caps, still you will be able to match. Okay, you will be able to match from the file. You can just observe here -i, but here you can see the pattern, whatever it is there, it is in uppercase, but here it is matching with the small case. That means it is not going to worry about the case. Okay, it is going to ignore either it is in uppercase or smaller case, it will display the value. Okay, so there is one more option called, okay, that is not specified here. Listen here, displaying the line number. If you want to display in that particular file what is the line number of that particular pattern, it is found line number. Okay, so you'll use option -n. So for this, how you are going to specify? Okay, dollar grep minus n. I'll use pattern marketing in the emp dot lst. So what is the output of this? You're going to get, so you're going to get the line number. Actually it is not there here, I'll just write it. So consider the output may be, so this particular line, so it may be found in marketing, you can just see. So line number 3, it is having marketing, so it will represent like this. The output you're going to get like this, 3 followed by whatever the line it was there. I'll just write this 2 3 4 5. Okay, James, GM, then marketing. Okay, like that. It will just display the line number in the file. What is the line number of this output where it is got matched? Similarly, if you found one more line with respect to marketing, that also it will display. If it is 4 line, fourth line also, if it contains same pattern, then you will get that output. Okay, fifth line like this. Okay, this is used for specifying the line number. So next we'll go with the deleting lines. So before going to the deleting lines, let me have, okay, in case now before going to option V, I'll just take option C. So that is minus C. So what is this C represent? So counting the line containing the pattern. Okay, counting the line, how many number of lines it is having the pattern. Okay, so for that I'll just give example, dollar grep minus C director. Okay, from emp dot lst. Okay, how many number of lines get selected? So it is going to display the line number, total number of pattern matching it is found. It will count and it will display. Okay, similarly we have deleting lines minus V grep option. Okay, so that means if you want to perform the opposite of grep, what it is doing here, so if you want to perform opposite of that, means if you don't want to select the lines that is having this pattern, okay, having this pattern, in that case you're going to use minus V. Select all the lines except those containing the pattern. So in that case you have to use the minus V option. Okay, grep minus V director emp list, and whatever the output, see this redirector, it is going to, output of this command is stored into other list. So if you want to check what is the content of this, you can use cat command, or if you want to count how many number of lines got selected for this command, so use wc minus l others list. You will get the total number of counts that is not having this particular pattern director. So minus v to ignore all the lines that is matching with the pattern. Okay, next displaying file names. Okay, so wherever that particular pattern found, so it is going to display the file name. Okay, you can just see grep minus l fork. Okay, so in that, consider this is some C program where I am searching for the pattern. You see here I have not given the codes, but still you will be able to run this, because if it is one word, codes are optional. So codes are mandatory if it is having more than one word. So fork.c. So it found that this line in this file. So this is the line that is matching with the given pattern. Similarly, fork.c, orphan.c containing the keyword or the pattern fork. Similarly, wait.c. These are the file names. If you want to know in which file it is matching with this grep command. Okay. So here you can see I have not given any file name. Are you able to understand? Previously I have given the file name. Now from the system, grep minus L fork. This is my pattern. Okay, from any file name. Okay, so that is ending with .c. Any file name ending with .c. So search for this pattern and display the output along with the file name. So that is how you got here. Okay. Then matching multiple patterns. So if you want to match more than one pattern, till now I have just used only one pattern. If you want to search for a multiple patterns, so you have to use minus E option. Okay, grep minus E, what is the pattern? Then space minus E, what is the pattern? Minus E pattern. So I am searching for wood house, woodcock. Okay, so from this file, whenever if you want to search for more than one pattern, just use minus E. Okay, in case if you don't want to specify all these pattern, uh, if you don't want to specify all these pattern directly on the command prompt, you can store into a file, each pattern into a file. Okay, consider create file 1.txt. In this file, okay, the first line should contain the pattern wood house. Okay, then woodcock. You can just store into a file, so and give this as an input to the file. Okay, so in a single word you can just write grep minus E, then emp list. You can just give any file name here. Okay, so then immediately it will take this file. Sorry, here I have given input file name is file.txt. So then in this file, it is going to search for the pattern that is specified here. That is wood house, woodcock, and the same output you are going to get. Okay, that is one more option called minus. Sorry, this should be minus F. Okay, so if you want to specify multiple pattern in the command, so you are going to use E. If you are storing the pattern into a file, you have to use minus F. So I made a mistake here. Grep minus F followed by file.txt. Okay, then you will get the same output. So here whatever I am explaining, it is just theoretical. If you want to understand thoroughly, you have to execute the command. Okay, so try to execute these commands, either use any online compiler, or you can just even you can run in your that CNLab server. Okay, only thing is create your own directories, create files there. Okay, and try to execute the things. Don't directly apply on the system directory. So any queries? So whatever I explained till now, so all that it will be there for the test till grep command. Okay, for grep from chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, except 7 till 8, 1 to 8, you need to learn for the test. Okay, and grep command, it is there in the 13th chapter. Okay, chapter numbers I'm just